For the past year, if someone asked me what AR glasses to buy for around $300, my answer was pretty straightforward. The RayNeo Air 4 Pro. Not because they were perfect, but because there really wasn't much competition in this price range. Then XREAL did something I honestly wasn't expecting. Instead of making another expensive pair of AR glasses packed with every possible feature, they went in the complete opposite direction. They stripped away most of the advanced spatial computing features, focused on the essentials, and launched the X by XREAL A01 Plus for just $299. On paper, it sounds almost too good to be true. They're lighter than the RayNeo Air 4 Pro, brighter than the RayNeo Air 4 Pro. They have a wider field of view, and somehow they cost exactly the same price. So naturally, I wanted to find out, has XREAL actually built the new budget king of AR glasses? Or are there compromises that don't show up on a specification sheet? After spending some time with them, I think I finally have the answer. Let's start with the design, because that's probably the first thing you'll notice the moment you pick these up. The very first thing that surprised me wasn't actually how they looked. It was how little they weighed. At just 62 grams, these are currently the lightest display-equipped AR glasses I've ever used. For comparison, the RayNeo Air 4 Pro weighs around 76 grams. Now, 14 grams doesn't sound like much on paper, but once you wear both back to back, the difference is immediately noticeable. The XREAL simply disappears on your face. After half an hour, I almost forgot I was wearing them. And if you've ever used AR glasses on a long flight while editing videos or watching a full movie, comfort becomes just as important as display quality. The design is also quite different. Instead of trying to look premium and futuristic, XREAL has gone for something much more playful. The front frame is completely removable. That means you can swap different colors, or even 3D print your own front covers if you really want to customize them. It's a surprisingly fun idea that I honestly didn't expect to like as much as I do. Now, does the build feel as premium as more expensive XREAL glasses? Not really. The plastic construction definitely feels more budget-oriented. It's not bad, but compared to the RayNeo Air 4 Pro, the RayNeo feels slightly more solid and mature in the hand. Whether that actually matters depends on how you use your gadgets. If these spend most of their life inside the included carrying case, I don't think it's a huge concern, but it is something worth mentioning. Moving on to the display, this is where things get really interesting, because on paper, XREAL actually beats the RayNeo in several areas. You get dual 1080p Micro-OLED displays, up to 1600 nits of peak brightness, HDR10 support, a 120Hz refresh rate, and, perhaps most importantly, a 50-degree field of view. That may not sound like a huge increase over the RayNeo Air 4 Pro's 46 degrees, but surprisingly, those extra 4 degrees make the virtual screen feel noticeably larger. It's one of those specifications that sounds insignificant until you actually wear them. Watching movies, gaming, or even just browsing YouTube genuinely feels more immersive because the image occupies more of your vision. Brightness is another area where XREAL deserves credit. These glasses are incredibly bright. In fact, they're brighter than the RayNeo Air 4 Pro. If you travel frequently, use them outdoors, or often sit near windows on trains and planes, that extra brightness definitely helps. However, this is where I think the story becomes more balanced. Because brightness isn't everything. After comparing both glasses side by side, I actually think RayNeo still produces the better overall picture. The colors look richer, contrast feels slightly stronger, and perhaps most importantly, text appears a little cleaner. If your primary use case is watching movies or gaming, honestly both are excellent. But if you plan on using AR glasses as a portable monitor for editing videos, reading documents, or writing emails, I actually think the RayNeo Air 4 Pro still has the advantage. The XREAL panel isn't bad. Far from it. It's just that the edges become slightly softer, and smaller text isn't quite as crisp as I'd like. It's perfectly usable, but it's one of those compromises that reminds you these are $299 AR glasses. Another feature XREAL talks about quite a bit is the AI-powered SDR to HDR conversion. Unlike gimmicky marketing features that barely make a difference, this one is actually subtle but useful. It adds a little more punch to colors and improves contrast when watching SDR content. You're not suddenly turning old videos into HDR masterpieces, but it does make regular content look a bit more vibrant. One feature I was much less impressed with, though, is stabilization mode. On paper, it sounds brilliant. The glasses attempt to smooth out movement when you're walking or traveling. Unfortunately, during my testing, enabling it introduced slight image warping and occasional ghosting around moving objects. It's not unusable, but personally I ended up turning it off most of the time because the standard display simply looked cleaner. Hopefully that's something XREAL can continue improving through firmware updates. Audio is another area where these two glasses are surprisingly close. The XREAL speakers are clear, voices sound natural, and for watching YouTube or Netflix they're perfectly enjoyable. But after listening to both side by side, I still slightly prefer the RayNeo Air 4 Pro. Its speakers have a little more depth and bass, making movies feel just a touch more cinematic. Neither replaces a good pair of headphones, but both are easily good enough for casual use. Now, if you've seen my previous video where I connected the RayNeo Air 4 Pro to DJI drones using the RC2 controller, you'll know that AR glasses aren't just for watching movies. They've become one of my favorite travel accessories. If you're interested in using AR glasses with DJI drones, I'll link that video below because it covers everything you need to know about compatibility and the real-world flying experience. For general entertainment though, whether that's movies, gaming, connecting to a laptop, or even a handheld console like the Steam Deck or Nintendo Switch, both of these glasses do a fantastic job. And honestly, that's why I think budget AR glasses are becoming much more interesting. Not everyone wants spatial computing. Not everyone needs gesture controls, cameras, or advanced tracking. Sometimes all you want is a really good portable screen. And that's exactly what both of these products deliver. So after spending time with both, which one would I actually buy? If comfort is your #1 priority, the answer is easy. The X by XREAL A01 Plus. They're incredibly lightweight, the larger field of view is genuinely noticeable, and the brighter display makes them fantastic for travel and entertainment. However, if your priority is the absolute best image quality, richer colors, slightly sharper text, better speakers, and an overall more polished experience, I still think the RayNeo Air 4 Pro has a small advantage. Neither of these glasses completely dominates the other. Instead, they each excel in different areas. And honestly, that's great news for consumers, because for the first time, we finally have real competition in the $300 AR glasses market. If someone asked me which one to buy, my answer would actually depend on how they plan to use them. For gaming, watching movies, and maximum comfort, I'd lean towards the XREAL. For productivity, richer visuals, and slightly better overall refinement, I'd still recommend the RayNeo Air 4 Pro. Either way, I think we're finally reaching the point where AR glasses are becoming practical enough and affordable enough that more people will actually consider using them. And that's probably the biggest takeaway from this video. Competition is making AR glasses better for everyone. Now, I'd love to hear your opinion. Which one would you choose? The lightweight X by XREAL A01 Plus or the more refined RayNeo Air 4 Pro? Let me know down in the comments. And if you want to see more AR glasses, smart glasses, and drone tech, don't forget to subscribe. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.